Tigers have the 5-1 lead. Want to predict the outcome of the 2005 season? You can log on to MLB.com. Play the opening day bracket challenge. 30 teams, 1 champion. Day 1. Everybody in contention right now. Guillen leads it off and takes the lefty's pitch for a strike. Guillen ended up 6th in the league in average last year with a .318 mark. Season-ending injury, September, right knee problem that he's coming back from for this year. Inside out to right field into a little shadow out there now. Back near the wall, and it's hauled in. Wow. Stairs back there as that one carried with only a light breeze going out to right. Stairs had to deal with a balloon coming down along with the baseball.
That Stairs isn't going to win any Gold Gloves in right, but this is a nice play because he's moving from the sun to the shadows. He stays right with it and makes a play on a ball that drifted a lot longer than we all thought it would drift.
He kept going, and so did Ball. Here's Ivan Rodriguez, already a double and a single today for Rodriguez. Andy Cisco on in relief of Lima. Lima gave up 3 home runs to the Detroit Tigers. Dimitri Young has 2 of them. Brandon Inge the other.
Cisco really forced his way onto this staff. They gave him 8 opportunities in spring training. He pitched 8 innings, gave up only 2 hits with an ERA of .225. Not too bad. You can use big left-handers in your bullpen or your rotation. You usually don't care what size they are if they can throw with the left arm.
I'll tell you what, though, the Rule 5 draft has killed so many players' careers. What the Rule 5 draft is, if a team doesn't protect the player, Cisco was in the Cubs organization, they didn't protect him on their major league roster. So if another team thinks he could be a major league player, they draft him. And the Royals, in order to keep him, have to keep him in the major leagues all year. And oftentimes what happens is you get players here before they're ready to perform, and it stunts their development, and they never reach their potential.
He gets a ground ball here. Play made. Go tie, and there are 2 down. Rodriguez retired, so he's got a 2 for 3 day. It's one mighty big jump to go from A ball to the major leagues, whether you're in the bullpen or not. He's going to get some chances early in the season, obviously, and not expected to work more than a couple of innings. But we're going to get Kansas City a look at Kansas City's bullpen here as we go along today. There are 2 down here. Aglio Ordonez has struck out and flied out. 2 down.
Nate Field loosening up in the bullpen. Cisco's looking very sharp so far.
Throwing strikes. This is outside. He had 1 visit to the mound. Talking about the Rule 5. Am I right on this now? Because I've tried to follow this because I'm interested. Rick Ankiel with the St. Louis Cardinals made the roster as a pitcher. Yes, they did not try and put him through waivers.
I think he must be on waivers right now. Supposedly that's the story. They're trying to run him through waivers now so that he will clear in season, so nobody will claim him and be able to run him off the roster themselves. So they didn't do it in the spring so that somebody could claim and have time to get him off the roster themselves. So they're trying to sneak him through it.
So they kept him on the roster for opening day purposes, but then we'll put him on the waiver wire, and if nobody claims him, because now you have to juggle your
own roster. Once you've just set your own roster, you're unlikely to claim somebody and then have to move people around to get him, because again, if he's not going to pitch, he's an outfielder, you're not going to care. If you claim him, you're going to try to run him to the minor leagues yourself.
Interesting story, because obviously he's trying to become an outfielder, and St. Louis doesn't want to give up on him. Let's see what's going on elsewhere. Let's check in at the studio.
Some interesting goings on here, Gary, as we check in on the Mets and Reds. Pedro Martinez making his Mets debut, and Adam Dunn in the first, taking him deep. A 3-run shot, so it's 3-1 Cincinnati.
Thanks, Dave. Oops.
It's not the last one that Adam Dunn is going to hit, however.
He is fun. I pay to watch Adam Dunn hit. Adam Dunn can swing a bat.
If he swings the bat, he's so selective at the plate. He gets so many strikes. If he's just a little bit more aggressive, he's got a chance to hit 50-plus home runs.
Ooh, got him. That's what happens when you hit a couple of home runs. And the Detroit crowd responds. That's all right. That's part of the game.
Well, Randy Marsh,
now they're warning the dugouts.
Randy Marsh is warning both dugouts. He wants to take control of this game. I think Tony Pena is a little surprised by the warning. You got a man making his first major league appearance, and the ball wasn't all that inside. but it creates a problem with runners at first and second, and Pena coming out to talk with his very tall young left-hander.
Now this is what, to me, this is part of what Willie Horton was talking about. They're going to take him out here. Let the guys take care of this unless it really looks like it's going to get out of hand. Cisco's going to leave after hitting a batter. Randy Marsh immediately jumped out in front and warned both benches, which means now if another batter gets hit, we're going to see that pitcher and the manager tossed out of the game. Dimitri Young knew what to do. Go to first base. Cisco's out of there.
Sign up today.
Great way to follow all of Major League Baseball all season long. 2 on. Field throws a strike. Nate Field comes on for Cisco. 5th inning, 2 down. Runners at first and second.
He had a great spring. His ERA at 1.13 in 10 ball games. And last year, not a great year, but good enough. And he's got a very good arm.
Rondell White faces him first. Throw down to first. Not in time. They thought they had him. Sweeney tried to make it work. The first baseman, as Young went diving back in. Buck says, hey, Rodriguez, watch this.
Tony Pena told me that it's not foot quickness that allows a catcher to get rid of the ball. It's transference from glove to hand. John Buck did it real well. It's an eyelash late, and the inning stays alive.
Well, Mike Sweeney gets his knee down a little bit more in front of the base. I think they do get Dimitri.
Check swing, tough play. Teeing up, base hit. That's how games are made. What could have been the third out at first base is missed by just that much. A little roll at a third that can't be played, and the bases are loaded.
Steve, you were talking about Tony Pena going up to Andy Cisco and saying to him,
well, yeah, listen, this kid, remember, Rule 5 draft out of the Class A level. You've got first major league game on the mound. Dimitri Young's hit 2 home runs, and what does he do? First pitch, he's willing to throw a hard 90-mile-an-hour fastball up and into Dimitri Young. And with this young kid, they're still evaluating him, just trying to figure out what he is. I tell you what, he showed an awful lot to the Kansas City Royals, and he showed an awful lot to the Detroit Tigers as well, that he's willing to pitch inside, especially the guy who hit a home run. Great job.
And it was great of John Buck to go to the mound to give you the time to get that story.
I appreciate that,
We'll
John
send
Buck.
down kudos to John Buck.
It's a veteran move on Buck's part.
That's exactly right.
We have him mic'd. He hears what's going on. Knew we needed time. That's a lie. Pena's up, bases loaded, 2 down. Carlos Pena had a single and scored in the second inning. Is flied out. See his numbers with the bases loaded include the 3 grand slams. The Tigers have a 5-1 lead here in the 5th inning. He was going for another one right there and didn't get it. It's a chance to really blow this game wide open. If Pena can deliver a base hit here, the runners will be going with 2 down.
He's another guy that came out of that very fruitful Oakland organization. He's found a home here in Detroit, and he can pick it at first base.
1-1 delivery to him. Jammed him inside. He could not catch up with that one. Good pitch. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Pena. Nate Field, veteran, 29 years old. Usually works about an inning a game based on last year's numbers. He's trying to work out of this inning. Cisco responsible for the 2 lead runners. 1-2 delivery. Stop made by Buck. In the dirt, 2-2.
Well, Steve, we talked about Carlos Pena from the Oakland A's organization. The way Dave Dombrowski has built this team, he realized when he came in here that he had some bad contracts. It was going to take some time. So he decided he was going to trade Jeff Weaver, who was really their best pitcher at the time. But in doing so, in a 3-way deal, he brings in Jeremy Bonderman. He gets Carlos Pena and Franklin Hermana, one of the big arms in the bullpen. And he got 3 key players for the future of this organization for one guy who really wasn't going to be a difference maker to get them over the top. Great trade by Dave Dombrowski.
And when it's all said and done, that trade is going to go down as one of the best that Dave has made, and maybe one of the best for the Detroit Tigers, because these are all young guys who look to be around for a long time. What we've seen of Bonderman today, he's going to be an exceptional pitcher with a #1 caliber stuff.
He'll be pitching opening day in the future as well.
Fans on their feet, 3-2 with the bases loaded. And we'll do it again. Fouled off as Pena battles here to pick up some RBIs. Buck wants to go out to have a word with Field now to make sure that they are in the same boat as to what they want to throw here in this 3-2.
Well, here's the ball game. You're 4 runs down. It's getting late. If you don't get Pena, you can pretty much phone it in.
Pena,
that's why Buck goes to the mound.
Yeah, he hit just .235 with runners in scoring position last year, but does have the 3 grand slams. He asked for the timeout as he was not set and Field was. Ordonez, a 2-out walk. Young hit by a pitch. Rondell White, the infield single. Runners go, and it's an RBI on a bases-loaded freebie. Maglio Ordonez crosses the plate. Patience by Pena to get the RBI. And that will be charged to Cisco.
With 2 outs and nobody on, the ball hasn't left the infield, and yet it's bases loaded, 1 in, and once again a restored 5-run lead.
And the inning's still alive. Monroe, and a strike called in the inside corner. For the Tigers, 6 runs on 7 hits, taking advantage of the opportunities. Cisco walked a couple. One of those has scored. That one to left field in front of long base hit. It'll score Young. White coming to the plate. Here's the throw off the mark. Throw to second and out at second base. Trying to dive back in was Pena. But Monroe delivers the RBI base hit into left field. So put a couple more on the board, and the Detroit Tigers continue to add to it with a 3rd out coming in.
ESPN2's Opening Day Baseball, presented by the Home Depot. Brought to you by Xerox, helping your business grow in unexpected ways.
Opening day here in Detroit. The Tigers with the 8-1 lead. Bonderman on the mound. It's an even bigger lead to work with as Calvin Pickering, the designated hitter, stands in. Matt Stairs and Barohar to follow. 8 runs, 8 hits. For the Tigers, Pickering a little chopper as he one-armed that one. Pena there. And there's one away, 6th inning. Bonderman 7 Ks, 1 walk so far.
He's done it by changing speeds and using 2 different types of fastballs. He's really had a lot of these Kansas City hitters out on the front foot. They can't keep their hands back, and just when they're starting to look for a breaking ball, he throws that big heater right by.
Bonderman has held the middle of this Kansas City order. Hitters 2, 3, 4 to 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts today. Matt Stairs is the one who's gotten on base. He has had a couple of singles. Kansas City does not have an extra base hit in this game. So good start for the right-hander, 22 years old, 11 and 13 last year. Stairs is taking here. This is a veteran trying to get on base, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
You know, before the game, as I said, I talked to Ivan Rodriguez about what he wanted out of Bonderman. He wanted first pitch strikes. 18 out of 23 first pitch strikes so far today, which is an outstanding ratio.
And the 5 hits he's given up have been on the first pitch. So although it looks like they're starting to guess with him, you only use 1 pitch and to the next hitter. It's better than using 6 or 7, giving up the base hit and then wearing out well early.
Only 1 leadoff man has reached, and that came in the inning that they scored, as you would expect in the 5th inning. He's gotten the leadoff batters out. Bonderman came into the game last year retiring not the 75% mark you want, but only 65% of leadoff batters. 2-2 delivery on the way, foul back.
They've got a rejuvenated bullpen here in Detroit. They got Percival to close it down. They've got Urbina, a bona fide closer, as a setup man. They added Kyle Farnsworth, throws 100 miles an hour. This bullpen will be a lot better than it was in years past.
Fouls that one off again. Boy, if you've done that, in this day and age, we say so often, it does come down to the bullpen, and more it comes down to the middle relief.
Well, it does, and I think what the Tigers have done is really what the Dodgers' success was last year. They shortened the game. Tony Pena has to say, if I don't have the lead by the 6th, I'm in trouble, because if they go to Farnsworth and then Urbina and then Percival, I don't have much of a chance. So the Tigers' bullpen is situated very, very well for a young, youthful starting rotation.
Matt Gentner, you saw in there, just acquired from the New York Mets to add to that bullpen. Well, Alan Trammell's got some folks to work with in long relief. A 2-ball, 2-strike count on Stairs. 1 down and nobody on. Skips away from that one, and the count goes to 3-2.
This is going to be a rare lengthy at bat. This is the 9th pitch coming up to Matt Stairs, who is one of the guys in this lineup, and there's not too many that can hit the ball out of just about any park. Normally a dead pull hitter. He loves to pull the ball, and it'll rocket out of here even today.
David DeJesus had one of the longer at-bats against Bonderman, and that was the first at-bat of the game. Then Bonderman settled it down and has retired people unmercifully quickly for Kansas City's sake. 3-ball, 2-strike count still on Stairs. Outfield is deep. Magglio Ordonez and right is backed up a couple of steps on Stairs. Outside, and he draws a walk.
You know, Steve, we saw on that shot from center field that Pudge Rodriguez is looking over in the dugout. You know he's looking at Bob Cluck. Is that one of the recent advancements in the game, that catchers getting a lot of signs from pitching coaches?
I tell you, it happens a lot. I mean, when you have Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate, why do you need help from the dugout to call a game? I mean, he knows what he's doing. Let him call the game. I mean, I think Tony La Russa does it a lot in St. Louis. We're going to see it even more with the rookie catcher this year there. All it does is slow the game down. I think take the pitcher out of a rhythm. I mean, wouldn't it take you out of your rhythm as a pitcher?
As a young pitcher, I could see and make a case for it, especially if you have a young catcher. But a veteran catcher, even with a young pitcher, and you look at Rodriguez again, he's looking over at Bob Cluck and seeing if he has any suggestions.
0-1 the count, 1 down, and a grounder. This is going to be tough play. Inge gets it and gets the out.
Well, as a former catcher, Inge has a rocket of an arm. He showed real good athletic ability, coming in, charging with the bare hand and throwing in one motion. And he was able to get the out. This is a tough play, and it's a play that pitchers really love to see.
That's a tough play, and as a former shortstop, you see he has very good feet to be able to make that play right there. He was a shortstop in college, drafted as a catcher. He said, I was shocked they drafted me as a catcher. They didn't tell me first. They announced me as a catcher. They tell me afterwards I'm going to be a catcher. But you know what? The way he swings the bat, they find a place for you somewhere in the lineup because you can hit.
Great to have that shortstop background, though, and to be able to catch. I mean, you really have now a player who's going to be a regular third baseman. But, boy, if you run into trouble anywhere, you got a guy who can go to virtually any position now, except maybe second base. He plays the outfield. He's played all 3 positions.
And maybe a lot more valuable in the National League, where you're making a lot of changes, than the American League, where you go a little longer with the pitcher because you don't have to worry about taking him down.
That pitch is outside. 2 down, runner on at second base now. Long is struck out and grounded out in the game. 0 for 2 for Terrence Long.
And Pudge is looking for something away, but I think he was looking for a fastball, and he battled and stayed with it, made sure it didn't get by him. This is a supremely talented defensive catcher who just happens to be able to hit a bit.
Just a little. Way outside. Bonderman missing on that one. 2-1. Rodriguez gives the settle down sign there.
I think even with a big lead, I think we're seeing a young pitcher that is losing a little crispness off all of his pitches. And it'll be interesting with Alan Trammell and Bob Cluck to see how long they're going to go with him.
You know, Alan Trammell is thinking about that issue already. 2-1 delivery. That one out into left field. White's going to be there, and that's going to do it. No runs, no hits, 1 walk, leaving a runner on at second base. Bonderman, will he be back? He's got a lead. Detroit Tigers at home, and they have the 8-1 lead here on opening day. Opening day sometimes is a big day for players, perhaps none bigger than this. This is Henry Aaron, 31 years ago this day. 31 years ago, Hank Aaron hit a most memorable home run into the bullpen in left field. Hammered Hank met at home plate the all-time home run leader, and an opening day shot to get there. Now, of course, with Bonds not playing on the DL to start the year, and an issue of just what's going to happen with Bonds this year, the chase for Ruth and Aaron by Bonds is now on hold.
I think Bonds is going to come back a lot earlier than even he talked about when he had that press conference, where he looked a bit defeated, and certainly it was a very difficult couple of weeks for him. I think he's going to come back before the end of May. personally. But it gives hope to everybody in the West in the National League with Bonds not there. They added Alou. They added Benitez. I mean, San Francisco's a strong team, and a lot of people picked them to win it with a healthy Bonds. They don't have that luxury, and now it lets San Diego and L.A. have a whole lot of hope, although Gagne is disabled, and for L.A. that's a tough thing to swallow.
1-2 delivery. Inch takes that one down the right field line, and it will stay fair. Hauled in by Stairs. One away here in the 6th inning.
You know, I still think that the Giants are the team to beat without Bonds. You go position by position and break their team down against the other competition. Even without Bonds, you move Pedro Feliz out to left field, 22 homers, 84 RBI last year. Moises Alou in right field. They're going to have more than enough offense with a veteran lineup, and their pitching matches up well with everybody else in that division. I still think the Giants, if Bonds is out all year, I still pick the Giants to win that division.
I don't pick them if he's out all year, but I think one of the things about that, Steve, is that we talked about the weakness of this division. Well, the National League West isn't exactly a real strong division. The Dodgers are an unknown quantity at this point. The Padres, maybe. They haven't proved that they can play well yet. San Francisco, I agree with you, remains a team to beat, but without Bonds, I think that whole division becomes a whole lot more compact.
I think it does bring everybody together, but I think that the Dodgers have fallen off. The Padres are an up-and-coming young team, but they really need some guys to bounce back, and have bounced back years. Brian Giles wasn't himself. Klesko wasn't himself. They need some offensive production that there are no guarantees that they're going to get in that ballpark. So I'm not sure that anybody really is going to challenge. The Padres are interesting, but I still think the Giants are the team to beat.
Well, the Padres are playing in a park where they have some left-handed power, and Nevin has a right center field stroke, and it's a park made for right-hand hitters.
That one goes off the glove for probably a base hit. So Infante gets the benefit as Tian tried to reach it. Baroja probably had a better play. It went off his glove and into the outfield.
Took a bad hop at the end, and we'll see how that one is scored officially, and it is scored as a base hit.
Well, Infante's on with his first hit, 1 for 4. There are the fielding rankings last year. You can see the struggle Kansas City had in that department, along with the Detroit Tigers. Nate Field on the mound, gives up the base hit. Now runner on at first base, 1 away. And Carlos Guillen, who's gone 0 for 3, stands in. That'll be 5 hits on the board for the Royals and 9 now for the Tigers. Shortstop Guillen trying to add another to that 8-1 lead. He's going to have a base hit into right. Stairs stopping at second base. Infante, 2 on, 1 down.
Look how productive that Houston organization was. They were able to trade Carlos Guillen, John Halama, and Freddie Garcia to Seattle to get the big unit, Randy Johnson, who went 10-1 the rest of the way and then left Houston. But very few teams could have put together the package that it took to get Randy Johnson. Houston was able to do it, and Guillen has gone on. Although he's coming off his second knee surgery, he's gone on to have quite a career.
Well, the Astros had actually cornered the market in Venezuelan talent at that time with Guillen and Freddie Garcia. They had Bobby Abreu as well. Johan Santana was there. Hidalgo. I mean, they really had that niche. Now there's some additional competition there. They don't have it cornered anymore. But for the longest time, the Astros did it. And you see that talent now spread around the major leagues.
Ivan Rodriguez, 2 for 3 today. Double single and is grounded out. 2 on, 1 down. Everybody in the lineup has a hit except Ordonez, who waits on deck. 0-1 delivery. Reached for that one and did not get it. And an 0-2 count quickly on Rodriguez. Rodriguez started the day with a single, got a double and scored in the 3rd inning. Dimitri Young has 3 RBIs in this game, including 2 home runs. He has been the big producer so far. Rodriguez would love to launch one right here himself. Down the line at 3:30. 0-2 count. And Field comes up high with it. He won't chase. 1 and 2.
Budge lives in a home with 15 bedrooms and 11 and a half bathrooms. Now, although the half bathroom is a little small, you could have some guests over the house if you lived there, wouldn't you think so?
11 and a half bathrooms. You have a bladder issue or what?
No, that's how he loses weight. That's how he lost 20 pounds.
That's exactly.
Use a different bathroom every time you go.
Exactly right. And then try to find your way back.
And try to find your way back. And by the time that happens,
that's how it works.
Yeah, during the winter you lost 20 pounds just going from bathroom to bathroom.
it brings his speed into play.
I tell you, we get inside stories. This is inside baseball we're talking about here.
Well, we're trying to humanize these fellows that would otherwise.
Well, going to the bathroom was pretty humanizing, I'll tell you that. Rodriguez, 1-2 delivery on the way, and he takes that one outside, and it goes to 2-2.
At 8-1, I'm ready for you to break into your vaudeville act.
At 9-1, I do. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Rodriguez. Field, after getting up on the count here, trying to get Rodriguez to chase. This is the pitch. Rodriguez would like to get the hit, and he got one and didn't get it. He is out of there. Field gets the strikeout. Now 2 down and 2 on, and Maglio Ordonez, who walked and scored his last time up, will stand in. Jam-packed crowd here in Detroit at Comerica Park. The All-Star game, as we mentioned earlier, is going to be played here this year. That one right back to the mound. Field has it. And that will get the out. Ordonez continuing to look for his first hit as a Detroit Tiger. No runs, couple of hits, 2 are left on base. 6 complete, 8-1 Tigers.
Mets and Reds, Carlos Beltran picking up right where he left off in last year's postseason. This exactly what Mets fans were hoping for. Taking Paul Wilson deep here. Pedro and the Mets back in a 3-3 game. Gary?
Dave, thanks very much. Another Met name there, Paul Wilson, on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds. What a wonderful guy, and I hope that the season's successful.
Absolutely. They're everywhere, those Mets guys.
They are, aren't they?
They keep talking about the new Mets.
What were those GMs doing?
They keep talking about the new Mets all the time. I want to know what was wrong with the old Mets. I was part of those old Mets now.
Who drafted that guy #1? Do you remember?
Beltran? That wasn't me.
No, Paul Wilson.
No.
2-0 delivery to Buck.
Depends. Did you like the draft or not? If you liked it, then I was somehow involved in it.
Before he hurt his arm,
Oh.
that guy's stuff was astonishing. He was out of Florida State, as I recall. I remember a game at Wrigley Field where he was pretty close to unhittable.
That one popped up shallow right field. Buck, who had a single and scored his last time up, is out of there as Maglio Ordonez puts it away. One away. We are in the 7th inning. Want to remind you, well, that's a great viewing for you. ESPN HD and ESPN2 HD high def. Monday, we've got opening day baseball continuing. The Cubs and the Diamondbacks at 5. The NCAA Women's Championship at 7:30. Baylor takes on Michigan State, ESPN. And Wednesday, our day game, Red Sox Yankees, ESPN HD. So HD, if you got it, those are games you're going to see in HD.
The Diamondbacks are going to be much improved now. Granted, you lose 111 and you spend a little money, you will get much improved.
Which go out on a limb.
But they're going to be, don't forget, if Gloss stays healthy, along with Green and a rejuvenated Louis Gonzalez, they're going to be able to hit some.
Left field towards the gap. White and Monroe, warning track, and Monroe gets there. And at a long way to go.
But Rondell did a great job of saying, Craig, come and get it. Get that ball.
Great job of staying out of the way,
Exactly right. Good effort. Monroe talking about playing center field here, reading the angle off the bat. They are spacious alleys. And he made that look easy.
As soon as you holler, you got it, White said. You got it.
That's exactly
I'm
right.
not going to challenge it. And 2 quick outs here as Bonderman continues to roll along. DeJesus. Pitch is taken up high. DeJesus a single RBI, 1 for 3 in the ballgame.
I think this would be the last inning one way or the other for Jeremy Bonderman, who certainly has to come away with a tremendous feeling of accomplishment. 22 years old, opening day starter. It was going to be Johnson. They changed to Bonderman. He's shown us today why they're so high on him and why perhaps Billy Beane, who was going for a division title, decided to include him in that trade. It's going to turn out to be a wonderful trade for the Tigers.
He has looked very solid in this game. He went 1-1 against Kansas City last year, 2-3 lifetime against them. 94 pitches thrown. Only 2 walks surrendered. The 7 strikeouts, most of them came early in the game. And Farnsworth, new acquisition. Carl Farnsworth is getting ready to go in the bullpen.
When Kyle gets the ball over, there's very few people around baseball that can hit him. They're going to like him here in Detroit.
1-2 delivery and a chopper up the middle will be a base hit. So DeJesus is on. He gets his second hit. He has the lone RBI for Kansas City that came in the 5th inning. That also was on a single. Bonderman has yet to give up an extra base hit.
We're getting a chance to see Bonderman here, and You know, to tell you how aggressive this kid is, he actually, as a junior and graduated his junior year in high school, he withdrew from school, got his GED, re-enrolled in school to be able to play baseball, but he graduated early so that he could get into the draft a year earlier than everybody else. The first junior ever drafted in the draft, Major League Professional Baseball draft.
Well, he was held back because he had dyslexia, and the rumor came out that he couldn't read or write, which of course wasn't true. What he can do is throw the ball as well as just about any 22-year-old in the world, and he's showing it today. So this is a young man who is very serious about his craft. He just wants to go out and pitch. He doesn't seek headlines. He's going to get a lot of them, however, especially pitching like he's pitching today.
They just taken outside. Detroit Tigers did not have a 10-game winner last year. You're looking at somebody on the mound today who may very well take care of that for this year and may not be the only Tiger to do that, as Bonderman has got an opportunity really to be something special. And Trammell concerned here by think about the number of pitches as the ball skips away. Pena could not handle that one over at first base, and DeJesus will make his way down to second.
It's a mistake that a 22-year-old will make. You've got a 7-run lead. You have 2 outs, and you know what is going to be the last inning of work. Just get the hitter. Everything else will take care of itself. No reason to even try to pick him off. You wouldn't have anyway. Carlos Pena can't come up with it, and that'll go as an error on Bonderman, one of the few things he's done wrong today.
And Alan Trammell just wants him to get through this inning. It's almost painful over there now, even with an 8-1 lead. Trammell just wants one more pitch, get that last out. Let me get him out of here. With a big lead, no problems, arms in good shape. He gets another hit here. Trammell's got to think about going to the bullpen during the inning, which he would rather not do, although it's ready to go. 2-0 count with 2 down. Yotai will take the pitch for a strike, 2-1. The closer, Troy Percival, the newly acquired 2-year, $12 million deal. 2-2.
You have over 300 saves in the major leagues, and there's no doubt that you're immune to pressure. The only question has always been with Troy Percival, will he be able to stay healthy enough? Because his arm has taken a lot of abuse. But this guy has overwhelming stuff. The Tigers are hoping he gets a lot of chances to save games.
100 pitches now thrown by Bonderman in this start.
Steve,
looking for that one final out in the inning.
Play manager for me. You don't get Yotai here. You've got Sweeney in the on-deck circle. Do you go get Bonderman?
Absolutely. I take him out and I let this 40,000 people stand up, cheer this kid, and give him a reward for this effort today, and let the bullpen finish it off.
He's going to get the great hand when he leaves here if he gets the out as well. Misses that inside. And a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Yotai 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts. Trammell's ready to go to the mound if needed here. He's got one hand on the railing ready to pull himself up. Well, what a performance for this 22-year-old right-hander in this game with a 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. 3-2 delivery. Down to third. Great stop made. Hands up for the arm. Gets the out. No runs. 1 hit and 1 left on base. 7th inning stretch time in Detroit. Bonderman making his way out. And the fans on their feet. Lots of games, lots of great action to come your way all season long, and that's how you can watch it. Go to MLB.com. Tigers have the 8-1 lead here. Alan Trammell looking for a winning season after a 72-90 year last year. Alan Trammell knows what winning seasons are about with the Detroit Tigers. He and Lou Whitaker, great combination, one of the all-time greats in the infield. Alan Trammell with the Detroit team has put a lot of W's up. Gibson's on the bench with him. Sparky was there at the time as the manager. That's George Anderson to you, please. And when final outs came, you usually ended up with a big W on top. The 84 world champions, Trammell leading the charge. And Alan Trammell had a start to a year to be remembered, as well as the finish that season with Detroit. In 1984, 35-5, that team began.
Well, conventional wisdom has always said that you can't win the pennant in April or early May. And that 84 Tiger team put an end to that theory, because that's essentially what they did. They played 500 the rest of the way, and nobody came close to catching them.
Well, as a general manager, the truth is you're sitting up there saying, all right, we win the first one, we might go 35-5. I mean, you know, that's a general manager's dream come true. You go 35-5, you sit back, go in and talk to the owner, talk about an extension is what you do.
Sean Camp has come on to do the pitching. As Field out of the ball game, Lima, Cisco, Field, and now Camp have been on the mound for Kansas City today. Right up the middle, and another base hit for Dimitri Young. A perfect day. 2 home runs hit by a pitch, 3 runs scored, 3 RBIs, and now a single.
That's why Kansas City hit him, because when they're not hitting him, he's hitting them. And it's a big day for Dimitri Young, the switch hitter, who's a natural right-hand hitter, whose father said to him in his last year of high school, hey, son, you might want to see that breaking ball coming into you. Try to hit left-handed. And, of course, it's worked out very well for Dimitri. He's a real dangerous switch hitter.
Boy, what a start for his season. Rondell White, he got a base hit his last time up, 1 for 3, single and a run scored in the game for the Tigers, who now have 11 hits off 4 pitchers.
I went down and talked to the most intense man in the ballpark, and I think that's Kurt Gibson. And he reminded me that I gave up his first home run ever. As if I would forget an auspicious occasion like that. It was a changeup, he said. I said, nice of you to remind me. Dwayne Kuiper does the same thing with his only major league home run. At least you hit a few more.
And he wasn't limping on that home run.
No. Not in those days.
Not in those days.
He could fly.
1-1 delivery towards the third, off the glove, play at second, and a good one. 5, a 6, a 4. As Baroja backing that one up. Got it over to Gotay to get the force out. Pitchers like that kind of play.
They were working on that in spring training, I think. Yeah. Tion just, you know, he's a little aggressive still. Young guy trying to make every play. He gets a nice assist. Throw, good hands, good feet. Nice play.
Gentlemen, we're going to see a lot of games this year together and do a lot of games as a team. I want you to remember that 5-6-4 and see how many more times you see that this year.
We'll put that down, a little star in our book on that. See if that happens again. Carlos Pena coming up, 1 down, runner on at first base. Single and scored in the second inning, drew a walk, and that was with the bases loaded in the 5th for his RBI of the game. Runner on at first here. Sweeney's going to play in front of Rondell White, the left-handed hitter up there in Carlos Pena. You see him looking over. He was looking into the dugout to see where they wanted him to play here. And they do want to keep him in front. Big hole between first and second as a result for Carlos Pena if he pulls the ball at all. That one sunk out of sight on him, 1-1. Logan comes on as the pinch runner at first base. Nuke Logan with Rondell White coming out. Both these teams will have an off day tomorrow before they resume this series. So not really much worry about how many pitchers are used, and trying to get some of the bench players in too, just to give them a day to play.
Logan's probably the fastest man on the field, including both teams. And he made this team. Alexis Gomez didn't, despite the fact that Gomez hit .357 in the spring. A lot of people wondered about that move by Alan Trammell and Dave Dombrowski. The same thing can be said for Bobby Higginson making the ball club, as opposed to Marcus Timms, who had a terrific spring.
Interesting, Higginson, when they introduced the entire team today, both teams, when Higginson was introduced, he probably generated as much noise as anybody in the ballpark. Now, a lot of it was cheering, but obviously a lot of it was some negative response, because Bobby Higginson was expected to be their big, bright, shining star. That one into right field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Moving over to third is Logan. He will stop there. An RBI for Carlos Pena, 2 for 3.
Well, this is a team that ate $14.3 million with Damian Easley, and I'm talking about the Tigers. And Higginson's making just under $9 million. So you're Dave Dombrowski, Steve. From his position, you got a guy who probably is going to be a pretty good player in Timms. but you've got Bobby Higginson. You still owe him $9 million. Does that have something to do with the decision?
Well, it probably does, but it also, you have to remember that you don't always start the season with your best team, your best players. You have to keep in mind that it's a 162-game season. It's a marathon. You want to have the best talent available for the most number of games. So you release Higginson, you get Timms up here. Well, you know what? You just let a guy go who might be able to help you. If you keep Higginson here and Timms can go down below, get at bats, keep himself sharp, then when there's an injury, or then if Higginson doesn't produce, you can bring him up. So, but when teams are set coming in to start the season, it's not always where you put all of the best players together. You keep the most amount of depth to help your club for the year.
Higginson had the great start, and then it just fell apart on him. And so he will be platooning now in the outfield. Monroe takes the pitch outside for a ball. We were talking about one of the interesting things over the last couple of days is that in the discussion, some of the players even for Detroit were unhappy with the moves, but it was Alan Trammell who was taking the heat, not the GM.
Was an interesting scenario watching the articles, and the most vocal of the folks who felt it was an injustice is a man you're looking at, Dimitri Young. But I talked to Dimitri before the game, and he said, I wasn't even talking about Bobby Higginson. I was talking about the fact that Timms is going to be a terrific player, and I thought he played his way onto the team. It's a business. It becomes a numbers game, and what Trammell said was he thinks that Higginson early in the season can help him.
That one at third, knocked down. Runner at third stays. Got the play at first, and not in time. Break-in day for T in his first major league game. That will probably be the first error of the ball game, as he had a chance, couldn't get the out. The bases are loaded.
They're giving him a base hit.
It's Detroit.
Hard hit ball.
Yeah, it was hard hit.
Christmas comes early.
So the sacks are full at third base. Logan didn't dare to take off with the ball right there. So Inge is going to get a shot at it here with the bases loaded. He had a home run in the second inning, 1 for 3, a struck-out fly-out.
Well, Santa left, and they just changed the ruling to E5.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, it was a tough play. Could have gone either way. That one to short, backing up. Baroja got one. Doesn't get two, and that backup cost him. He got caught in the middle. Logan will score. They get the out at second base, but not the double play they needed.
Well, the rule is short. You don't back up on the ball, but you let the ball play you. Right there, Barreau let the ball play him instead of playing the ball. And when you do that, it eats you up. He was fortunate enough to at least get an out on it, but that's the problem the Royals have had defensively. And boy, what a toll it takes on your young pitching staff to have to keep going. You know, they figure, hey, I just need to get a ground ball. He gets it, and he doesn't get the double play, and he has to keep pitching.
That'll be a fielder's choice. Infante will be credited, Inge rather credited with the RBI as Infante stands in. So RBIs piling up for everybody up and down this lineup. They have gotten it done here today. Infante's taken a 1 for 4 with a single in the 6th inning. 3 RBIs for Inge on the day, including his 2-run homer. He's on at first base. Runners at first and third. Pena's on at third base. There are now 2 down. It's one of those plays where nobody gets an error, and yet the pitcher is the one, as you said, Steve Phillips, who takes the brunt of it. He should have been out of this thing a couple batters ago. He isn't. Now we'll get a discussion here as to where they're going to go.
Yeah, I think Guy Hansen is coming out, and he's going to talk to Camp and say, look, you should be well out of the inning and sitting on the bench. You're not. Keep your concentration and get out of the inning and limit the damage, because he's thrown ground balls. They just haven't made the play. There was a one-time closer on this team, McDougal, who throws awfully hard. He's lost that closer role, but a lot of people figure before too long he's going to regain it for the Kansas City Royals.
2-0 count. Runners off first and third. Infante takes it up high, and the count goes to 3-0 as Camp struggling here in the inning. A couple of hits, an error, and he did call it a strike. 2-1. He gets the call from Randy Marsh in the inside corner. Tigers now have upped it to a 9-1 lead. A dozen hits in the game for Detroit. And it'll be fouled off, and And it'll go to 2-2. Juan Samuel can still play as he played the ground ball at third base.
You know, we're talking, go back to the issue where Dimitri Young was upset that Marcus Thames was sent down. You can understand from a player's perspective why they're upset, because they get conflicting messages from the organization. The club says, go out, play hard, perform, and win a job. Well, when a guy does that and then he gets sent down to the minor leagues, it becomes confusing for everybody, because the players look at it and say, well, look, we did exactly what you said, and we didn't get the result. What is it that you want us to do?
As Alan Trammell said, go down and prove me wrong. And that's what he's going to try and do. Strikeout, Camp gets it there, but another run in on a couple of hits and an error. 2 left on base. 9-1 Tigers.
He can help.
Well, the Tigers roared today. A 9-1 lead for the Tigers, opening their 105th season. They are at home, and their fans have loved it, as the Kansas City Royals have doubled up on hits and more than that in the run department. Urbina's come on to do the pitching. Logan's playing center field. That one deep to right field. Sweeney, and hauled in. Aglio Ordonez will have to get used to the well out there where he caught that one. Sweeney retired 0 for 4 for Sweeney today.
There's a look at Uguet Urbina, longtime closer. Held his breath on that last fly ball. As soon as it moved from the Detroit Sports Report to the Bell Tire little outcropping, he knew it was going to stay in the park.
A sign.
It was a sign, not from above, but actually parallel with where he was looking.
Here's Calvin Pickering, the designated hitter. 0 for 3 has struck out twice. There's the area as that goes back where you see that tire sign. That one to right field. If that's fair, it's not coming back. It is. Goodbye home run. Pickering got one. So Urbina, a couple of pitches, 2 long fly balls, one's an out and one's out. And it is a 9-2 lead as Kansas City gets their first extra base hit of the day. That's what we were talking about earlier. This is where Pickering will strike. There's a big lead late in the game. Looking fastball, gets it.
Well, that's a grown man hitting that ball right there. Just a fastball, middle part of the plate. He just turned on it and launched it.
Here's Matt Stairs. 7th hit for Kansas City. Fastball up high.
A lot of folks very interested in Uguet Urbina as their closer. With Troy Percival here, Urbina is a fairly expensive setup man and a guy who is no stranger to late inning pressure.
A lot of teams do not have a closer. That there's a lot of clubs looking around. A lot of them are going to wait for a while to see how their teams start, to see whether or not they're willing to make that kind of a move. I think you're right, Steve. Urbina's name is going to be much talked about here through the first half of the year.
Well, I think for a lot of teams that get off to a decent start that are going with bullpen by committee, or maybe their closer is hurt and out for some time, I think they're going to come to Detroit for Urbina, and I think Dombrowski would move him.
Urbina follow through on that one, bounced it. 3-ball, 1-strike count. Matt Stairs up, 2 singles and a walk today. Biggest crowd here at the ballpark since it opened in 2000. 44,105 at Comerica.
Well, you couldn't have ordered a more beautiful day. It was 70 degrees at game time. In fact, it's 70 degrees right now.
Lots of sunshine. Big heater. Swung on and missed. 3-2. And the Tigers' victory here should mean that come the day after tomorrow, there'll be another decent crowd on a day that usually is a real struggle, which is day 2 of the season. But they may have some walk-up after this performance of fans who just want to see what's going on, even if it is just game 2. Now one towards second base. Handled easily by Infante. 2 down with a run in. Want to remind you, there's a lot more to come. Wednesday baseball, the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees will be concluding their series. We'll have the game 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Wakefield and Mussina. At 7 o'clock Eastern, ESPN2, Atlanta, Florida. Mike Hampton against Al Leiter scheduled to go. And at 10 o'clock Wednesday in ESPN2, it'll be the Dodger-Giants matchup. It's all coming up Wednesday Night Baseball, built by the Home Depot. Pretty good games.
Very good games. And we're going to see the 3rd game of what is a very entertaining series. The Red Sox at the Yankees. Randy Johnson last night showed why they got him. That older fellow can still get it up there.
The Yankee fans showed David Wells how quickly you can be forgotten and overturned.
wearing number 3 or no number 3.
Baroja, 1-0 count, 2 down, takes that one up high.
You know, the Randy Johnson acquisition, David Ortiz has been a Yankee killer. And Randy Johnson, if he neutralizes Ortiz in that series, that's where the Yankees gain an advantage, not only for the postseason, but Ortiz has been killing them. To get that left-handed starter, you looked at Damon and Ortiz just flail at pitches yesterday, kind of like we just saw right there, flailing at pitches. I mean, that's going to make a huge difference for the Yankees to have Randy Johnson there.
But with Kevin Brown on the disabled list, it also gives you a #1 guy, and a guy that has been dominating hitters of both leagues for a long time. That's a great acquisition. They paid some money to the Diamondbacks. They gave up Vasquez, but still, there aren't too many Randy Johnson caliber guys you can add to your rotation.
Urbina's pitch is swung on and missed. So Urbina settles down. He gave up the home run to Pickering. 1 run, 1 hit here in the 8th inning. 9-2 Tigers.
In the Sports Center in-game studios in this site. Steve Stone obviously knows very well Sammy Sosa, the traditional run into right field. The first time he's done it as a Baltimore Oriole in his first at bat with Baltimore here. Base hit off Barry Zito. Moves Miguel Tejada over to third. Birds could get him home though. Still scoreless in this one. Top second.
We were talking about faces in different uniforms. There's one of the most pronounced changes in the majors.
I think Sammy's going to have a big year because he's always responded to challenges. It was a very tough year for him in Chicago last year. Some guys would be happy with 35 and 80 and the power numbers. It was a down year for Sammy. He's going to like hitting in Baltimore. It's a very hitter-friendly ballpark, and he's in the middle of a very strong offensive lineup.
Mike McDougall has come on to do the pitching. 28-year-old right-hander as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Carlos Guillen leading it off. 1 for 4 today with a single. Rodriguez and Ordonez are due up. 9 runs, 12 hits for the Tigers. 1 error. Royals 2-7-1 on this opening day. And just missed with that one outside and a 2-0 count. The Tigers are 48-55-1. They had 1 tie in openers in their 105-year history. The 105th year beginning today. Kansas City actually won 11 of the 19 against Detroit last year. Fouled off down the line, and it'll be 2-1.
McDougall, a hard-throwing right-hander, born in Las Vegas. He's one of the best pitchers to come out of there, but I'm not sure he's going to eclipse the reputation of Greg Maddux, who was also born and raised in Las Vegas. No, I don't think it. Well, he's young enough to do it, but it's a few size away.
Few size. 2-1 delivery. Maddux looks so good. Not this spring. I mean, he's amazing. He's just amazing.
17 straight years at winning at least 15 or more games. First ballot guaranteed Hall of Famer, and still a guy that can go out there and win a lot of games for you. And he doesn't say anything and never complains about anything.
3-1 delivery, and he walked him. So McDougall comes on and surrenders just the 3rd walk by the 5 combined Kansas City pitchers in this game. Ian is on. We are delighted to have you with us here in Detroit. Opening day presented by Home Depot. And the Detroit Tigers are making it a home delight with that 9-2 lead here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And their big 44,000 had a lot to cheer about here today.
Steve, do you assemble a team for your ballpark, or do you assemble a team on what's available when it's your draft pick?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess I always assemble, just try to put the best talent together that I could to succeed in any ball.
Ivan Rodriguez to center to Jesus. 1 down.
You know, you just really have to find the best talent. I mean, you know, Shea Stadium for us was a pitcher's park, but yet, you know, you still needed power and be able to produce and score enough runs. So I think you have to look at your lineup, put the offense together that you want to be productive. Understand you're going to need power, whether power in your ballpark means a home run or whether it means a double off the wall. You're going to have power in the lineup, and you need pitchers to keep it in the park. So I think it was less about your stadium and more about putting talent together.
Ordonez looking for his first hit. Fouls that one back.
Dave Dombrowski put together a winner in '97 with the Florida Marlins, and everybody I talked to said a late season acquisition of Darren Dalton was the one thing that turned his entire season around. They made it as a wild card team. They might not have made it without Dalton, and so GMs are busy in these days from as soon as the season ends to the next season when it ends. 365 days a year.
It never ends.
Hey, 162 games and then the work starts. It's the way it really is. I mean, it's like, who wants that job?
And if you're in contention, it really starts even earlier than that, because if you've got a ball club in contention, now you're going, what do I do to get there?
No, listen, it is so painful. And I'll tell you, give you an example. Opening day in New York, first game of the season, we had a $75 million payroll, and we lost opening day. The headlines the next day in the paper, $75 million bust. I mean, so then, and I'm like, oh, great. So then talk radio, you turn it on, and what they say is a fan calls in and says, I see a trend starting to form here. I'm thinking, we only played one game. What is the trend? And the host of the show says, yeah, I see that trend too. It is such a tough place in New York, and these jobs, who wants them?
Do I taste rabbit ears here somewhere? Popped up to second base, and taken Gotte's got it. So you really miss the GM position.
Oh, I just tell you, you knew not to watch, listen to talk radio. You knew because it would just eat you up if you did. I'll tell you what, this is a lot more fun because I could be a GM for 30 teams. I could make trades and sign players, and I don't get criticized at the end, except from you guys, but I can handle that.
Who cares about that?
Yeah, but I have noticed after 6 years of GMing in New York, you do have a few gray hairs.
Gray.
Yeah,
really, but because they're dog years in New York. I was a GM for 42 years.
Dimitri Young stands in. Can he do it again? He's already got 2 dingers in this ball game. Pitch is way outside by McDougal. Leadoff walk. Gaines on at first base. 2 down. Bottom of the 8th. Dimitri Young started this game with a homer in the second, his first at bat. A 2 RBI homer in the third. Hit by a pitch and scored in the 5th inning and singled in the 7th. That's a pretty good opening day for Dimitri Young. 1-0 count with 2 down. Dougal's pitch is in the dirt. He is all over the place. You saw Dimitri Young trying to wave Guillen on. Guillen wasn't sure, and he stays.
and for a switch hitter, even though he's a natural right-hand hitter, because a switch hitter hits probably 75% of the time as a left-hander, you see Dimitri Young with more power as a left-hand hitter. It's not unusual to do that.
A little discussion here as Buck goes out to talk to McDougal. Trying to get him settled down a little bit and get those pitches in the strike zone.
Yeah, he's telling me, if you do throw this fastball, why don't you keep it low and away? He's hit everything middle of the plate in, except what we've hit in.
2-0 count, 2 down. And way outside again. Young hit .248 off the lefties and .286 off right-handers last year. He had 8 home runs against left-handers and 10 against right-handers. Numbers and games played diminished by injury, hoping this season he can get in a whole year. And that pitch is taken for a strike, even with the 9-2 lead taking, and the count goes to 3-1.
Well, we see McDougal struggling throwing strikes here right now, and he had been the closer. Then last spring came down with a stomach virus and a flu, lost about 20 pounds, and really lost his strength, and then changed his delivery, tried to over-muscle and overthrow everything, and got all out of kilter. And Guy Hansen, the pitching coach for the Royals, has been struggling, trying to get him back, locked in with that release point.
Ouch. Fouled that one right straight down. Off the foot. Remember, it was game 2 last year when the injury came. He'd just like to get into game 3 this year and go on from there.
Especially after game 1, and the type of production he's had. Well, Dimitri's been able to hit for as long as I can remember, and it doesn't matter what team he's with. He can swing the bat. The question was, what position would you find for him?
Right field, way back, 3 in 1 day. Goodbye, home run, Dimitri Young.
He's on a pace to hit 486 home runs, and I think that would
Fans want him to come out and bow. Logan up. There he is.
That's a pretty good guy, and a good guy to have on your team because his teammates love him. He keeps things loose, and quite obviously he can produce just a bit.
What a day for Dimitri Young. 5 RBIs, 3 home runs, 4 runs scored.
And he's making a very big ballpark look awfully small this afternoon.
You know, one of the things about this park that I noticed that really surprised me when I looked, this ballpark was actually 6th highest in the American League in home runs hit combined by both visiting and home team. I thought this ballpark would have been near the bottom. It was not. It was the 6th highest in home runs surrendered for a ballpark.
That may have something to say, though, about the Tigers pitching last year more than their hitters.
Yep. But even that still surprised me, though. Logan Chopper to second base. That time makes the play, and boy, you see how fast Logan is. He almost beat that thing out. 2 more RBIs, another home run. Dimitri Young.
MLB.tv now on ESPN.com. Sign up today.
Well, we were just talking about the man who's come on to take care of the end of ball games. Obviously, no save situation here. Nevertheless, Troy Percival will be the 3rd pitcher. His first appearance in a Detroit Tiger uniform. And gets the first pitch in for a strike.
I like what Alan Trammell's doing, using Percival in a game 11-2, but you want to get him an inning. You have a day off tomorrow. You want to make sure that he feels comfortable with his mound here in Detroit, someplace where he hasn't worked a whole lot. And this guy holds the key to many Tiger victories. If they can get the ball to him more times than not, he closes down the game.
4th in the American League last year, 33 saves he put up on the board. Percival with Anaheim, of course, and a very important cog in their winning seasons. Now trying to do the same for the Detroit Tigers. Jason Smith has come on to play at shortstop as Gann has moved out of there, and Vance Wilson is doing the catching as Ivan Rodriguez out of there here in the top of the 9th inning. Percival, funky windup left field. White's there, and there's one away. Long retired.
We see Vance Wilson, who was picked up in a trade from the New York Mets with the Tigers. You talk about having some bad luck in your career. He was with the Mets backing up Mike Piazza, so he gets traded to the Tigers to back up Pudge Rodriguez. There's not a whole lot of hope for playing time there.
No.
Kind of Bill Plummerish when he was backing up Johnny Bench.
But you're here.
You're here. You're collecting that big league meal money.
That one's going to be fouled back. The other catcher in this game. John Buck has gone 1 for 3, a single and a run scored in the 5th inning as DeJesus got an RBI. Pickering the other in a home run. That has been it for Kansas City's offense today, as they trail it 11-2 here in the opener in Detroit, and running out of outs to work with. Percival in there for a strike. Percival has had at least 30 saves 7 consecutive years, 10 years at the major league level. Hitters have had little or no success. Lefties hit .218 last year. Right-handers .244. And he got him.
The Angels had an embarrassment of riches in their bullpen. They could allow Percival to go on the free agent market knowing that Rodriguez was there to save. They have some great setup men, Shields being one of them. That's a team that will close out a whole lot of games and make it easier for their starting rotation. And the fans on their feet, a job well done by the Tigers today.
Least we forget the winning pitcher, probably. Bonderman went 7 innings. He gave up just 1 run on 6 hits. He walked 2 and he struck out 7. A tremendous start for Bonderman. Lima lasted only 3 for Kansas City. Percival the ground ball, and that's it. Pena makes the play, and the Detroit Tigers start 7-2 win over the Kansas City Royals, led by Dimitri Young. 3 home runs in today's game, leading the way of that 13-hit attack. For Steve Phillips, Steve Stone, and all of our crew here in Detroit, I'm Gary Thorne. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Hope you enjoyed our opening day presentation from Detroit. There's a lot more to come in Major League Baseball.